I mean, these are scenes from Kandeshi Pamprom, the Metro Mass Transit Limited bus terminal here, and this is the head office. And what you are seeing is an action from junior and senior staff who are declaring an indefinite strike, a sit-down strike here over a number of issues. One of them, and what they tell me is the biggest of all, is that they haven't been paid equitably or fairly in the last 4 years since 2018. They tell me again their salaries have delayed for months, and yet nothing has been said by management. They are grieved, they are unhappy, and they tell me this action is happening nationwide. More than 2,000 members of the Metro Mass Transit staff have declared an indefinite strike. Yeah, let me speak to some of the staff on how bad this really is for them here. Sir, if I may talk to you, I mean, you are one of the aggrieved staff, right? I mean, how bad is this situation for you? How long have you been paid?
It's very worst. It's very worst. So we can't say that's what all that they have said. This situation we have now is very worst. That's all that I can say. It's very worst.
But for you personally, how bad is it? I mean, in your work, in your dealings with the Metro Mass, how bad is it for you, Mr. Tego?
We are working, but the condition we are is very bad, very worst. That's all that I can see.
How things are going, I think maybe we have to step up our game.
I see. So they talk about salaries not being paid. For how long has this been going on?
Oh, for me, let me say, for last 3 months I've received my salary, but last month I've never received my salary. So I'm hoping maybe in due process, yeah, I'll receive it maybe.
Do you think this action is very necessary, a sit-down strike?
Yeah, the best way to communicate with your leaders, at least if the understanding is not going, at least a strike is another opportunity to also communicate with them. So sit down is also necessary.
I mean, they have some placards that they are putting up here. Remember, this one says that transfer entire management from head office, Mr. Yeboah, Mr. Obin, Mr. Otu, etc. They are asking, I want to believe, for the removal of their top management. This one here said this management cannot provide for anything. They have listed 5 of them: tires for buses, fuel for buses, that is 40 liters, spare parts, salaries, and the provident funds. They tell me that a lot more than that. So they are still putting some of these up. They are telling me they are on a sit-down strike. They're not going to work anytime. So, bossman, Patrick Frozen. Okay, great. But Udianka said
Abdul Jalil.
Abdul Jalil. Okay, Abdul. How bad is this for you? How long have you two been paid?
For a year. I can't speak English, but I speak and speak. Now I come here 2011. Since I come here from 2018, a better small, but now we condemn. No movement, no anything.
Wow. You list. You list a number of things.
You know what you say? Our leaders here, something like MJ, JMG, or don't want to see them.
Why is it I don't want to see them?
They don't go feel handle the work for us.
What do they do that as staff you don't like?
I beg, my wife called me, Makaya, but my wife said.
So what all that we want from the government, we don't want any politicians to come here again. He should not bring anybody. He should give it to the white people. Else he should approach to us. We will appoint him. We'll show him the people who are working here almost 20 good years. They can manage this company simple way, and this company will move forward.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I mean, when they talk about some buses not being in very good conditions, these buses that sit here are the perfect example of what you see. Some of them have been grounded. Even some of them, I don't think will be movable anytime soon here. So you can see that these are supposed to be tires that's supposed to be changed on these buses, but that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment here. So this bus, you definitely can see that the rim is damaged.
Also the concern of Metro Mass staff. So let's broaden the conversation and get the exact concerns. Joining us now is Amos George. He is the divisional chairperson of the Senior Staff Union. We also have Apia Anthony. He's secretary to the Senior Staff Union. You're welcome, gentlemen. And we also do, I must state, have labor consultant Austin Game joining us via Zoom. So he will be helping us with the technicalities of the matter. George, Anthony, who do I start off with? Let me start off with Anthony, because just this afternoon after that protest. We are getting reports that some of you are being called by, authorities or supervisors over this decision to lead your colleagues on this demonstration. Exactly how bad is the situation for which you have to do what you did earlier today?
Thank you very much. So bad. I don't know the kind of words I can use to describe it.
Right.
So bad. It's all about our welfare.
Right.
You know, the work have its own challenges, but we are using our welfare as a basis to tell the whole world that Metro Mass need to be salvaged. Because by next month to come, 2 to come, 3 to come, there won't be any Metro Mass.
Okay, so when you say welfare, that's generic. So what are some of the outstanding welfare matters that management is not dealing with? A reason for which you want to draw government's attention?
And examples
Right.
I'll give you.
Right.
Every worker at welfare, since 2018, your pension scheme tier 2, tier 3
Okay.
have not been paid. Workers, as we speak, 3 months, 3 good months have not received any salary. Though you come to work, do what you're supposed to do, but it's not been paid.
What official explanations did management give as a result of this delayed payment of salaries?
The reason why we are staging this exercise is that we want the owners of the workers to know the company, to know the situation.
And by this you're referring to government? Right.
Government.
Okay.
Because there's no communication at all.
You're not being told anything at all as to why there's delayed payment?
So management will wait.
Okay.
Reason best to them. Little agitations will start. Then they will bring something out. Due to insufficient money, wait, will pay you this day. Sometimes section of workers will be picked and be paid. So the others,
so they are paying some secretly. Is that what you're saying?
that is what I've been referred to.
That's something you're picking up. That is happening. Some
Not
of your
a
colleagues.
Something that is happening. So the others up to date salary I'm talking about, a section of
Your colleagues. Right?
my colleagues is paid.
So they have received theirs.
Yes.
Okay.
What happens is that when they see that the system is becoming somehow agitated, they will see a section where that agitation is coming from.
And then settle them.
And settle.
But what is the number that we're dealing with? And I'll come to you, George, shortly. In terms of, have you been able to put a number to it as to some of your members who are being affected as a result of this delayed payment of salaries?
It's total.
So that's for the senior staff or junior staff, everybody together.
Both senior and junior.
Everybody has an issue. Okay, so we'll get into the other aspects shortly with you. I know there are issues about Senate, for instance, or some other payments that were supposed to be there, Provident Fund and all of that. So we'll get into it, but I want to bring in George as well. And George, the argument has been made, which I need your response to. This argument has been made that, well, if you take a look at, for instance, your company and its setup, you have a fleet of just about over 100 buses, right? Over 130 buses. And yet your staff strength is over 2,000. So the system is choked. I'm sure you've heard that argument.
Okay, so let me start by saying His Excellency President Adanado did well in 2017 when he assumed the office. He gave us 84 Hongai buses. In 2018, he gave us 50 Daewoo buses. In 2020, he gave us additional 49 Daewoo buses. Just August this year, he commissioned 45 new VDL buses. So Nanado is trying as much as possible to augment our fleet almost every time, almost any time. And they are even making arrangements that by the end of the year, we'll get additional 55. Now, the issue about Metro Mass, when Mr. Albert Edubuaine assumed office as MD, we were running a little over 400 buses. So, with 400 buses, at least 400 buses, plus 50, 49, and 45, we would be somewhere. If by this time, after 5 years or 4 years and some months, we are running a little over 130 buses, it means they are not prudent management of the resources that are available to Metro Mass. And who would you blame? Leadership. So if we say, or we are asking the president to deal with the removal of the MD, then these are some of the things, the reasons why.
But some would say he's coming in to sanitize the system because you're too much. So some have to go, we need to allow the system to operate at optimum level as a business. What's your take on that?
Coming in how to...
but because the argument is that you're more than the fleet that we have. What do you think about the numbers?
That is what I'm saying. If you look at the progression, we were using about 400 buses in 2018. We had additional buses after those periods. So if you look at the progress, the rate at which we are deteriorating, then it means there is something wrong with the management of Metro Mass. If we had strategic business ideas being injected into Metro Mass, I don't think by now we'll be running this number of fleets to complain about the number of buses or the number of staff to bus ratio. You understand?
So practically, what would be the solution? And I just want to get that answer from you. What would be the difference if you have the MD of Metro Mass dismissed by the president? What change will happen? I mean, what will be the difference anyway? Because the new manager who would come will still definitely need some time to pay your salaries.
Definitely. We are not saying
so what would change?
The new manager that will come would do an overnight magic. But the issue is that now, as we stand, there is no coordinated effort between the executive. There is no coordinated effort to build the company. The only thing we see is a one man person who is issuing instructions based on emotions and sentiment. And we think that you cannot lead a company like this based on your emotions.
You feel that three of them still have issues?
Definitely.
So there's infighting, even at the other managerial level.
Yes.
How are you able to determine that? What evidence do you have as a group to point to?
The only time we see the three of them on one front is when there are problems with staff. If they have to find a way to punish staff, that is the only time you would see a memo coming from the admin but when it comes to welfare of staff, those memos don't come.
Do you agree that by now we should be rolling out some sort of reintegration of Metro Mass Limited into the other forms of state transport corporations that we already have? Is that an idea that you welcome?
At a point in the history of Metro Mass, we wanted to even acquire STC. We wanted to bring STC to be part of Metro Mass.
You were that efficient at it?
Yes. So if by that time...
And this was which year? Around which year?
Oh, it was, let me say, around 2010, thereabout.
Okay.
Between
so about 10 years ago, you were fully functional, and so you felt that at the time you were efficient enough to take over STC.
If you check the history, at that time STC was somewhat down. So
but now the reverse is the case.
The reverse is the case. And let's ask ourselves, what has STC done over the period? Now, almost everywhere across the country, STC, where they were previously operating, they are extending. They are establishing more terminals. But Metro Mass, the reversal is the case of Metro Mass. And I think if we don't do anything about it now, we would have problems. If we had a little over 400 buses around 2018, and now we are running less than or somehow 130 buses, then tell me where we'll be in the next.
Okay, so Anthony, let's talk about the way forward. And what are the likely steps for you as a group, knowing that at least you've put out your concern? I'm sure that you'll be taking some more steps.
Okay, I think once we want the owners to get to know the problem.
Right.
Because another side of what we are talking about is that we feel that there's a problem.
Okay.
By the appropriate quarters that's supposed to know those problems
they are not aware. That's the first issue, right?
So when they get the problems,
then you can sit down and talk about it.
Then they will investigate what we are saying. I know the other side too will be bringing their
representative.
Yes.
But ever since you declared that strike, right?
Sure.
Have you heard from them, and is there any indication that, well, you may be meeting in the coming days? Have you?
You know what happened?
Okay.
Before this resolution I'm holding got to our national secretariat.
Okay.
Not even nothing.
So this is the resolution.
This is the resolution. I will
give me a copy. Right.
When we finish.
Right. So before this got to,
I and my chairman were given an interdiction before the resolution even got to the authority. So at the moment we are on interdiction. So
really?
Yes, and even this afternoon, as we are
all of you are on interdiction.
4 members of the divisional executive is on. This is a reminder they just issue. Whilst even the action is taken.
And this is because of, and I just want to read portions. Maybe the cameras will capture this shortly. But it appears that what you're telling us now is that you've been interdicted. So let me see. This is, for instance, to George Imprim. This is your letter.
I have said.
And you also have, as the leaders of the union.
Yes.
And it says that reference is made to your letter. They refer to the letter dated October 10 in respect of the above subject. The fact that you're reminded that you're officially on interdiction until same is lifted. You are expected to comply with the interdiction regulations, which amongst other things require that you report twice weekly to your supervisor until otherwise. Whilst you're on interdiction, you have no business performing any official duty or participating in activities of the company, especially when such activities have direct impact on the operations of the company. So this is signed by Eric Otu. Eric Otu is a human resource director. So this is the letter, right?
Yes.
Right. George, what do you have to say to this?
You see, if you can even see Bogatanga, so I'm not supposed to be in Accra. How Bogatanga came in, I won a union election on 3rd of June, an election that has been coordinated by the Human Resource Department. On 3rd of June, I won the election. Then on the 10th of June, I received a transfer letter to Boga, all in the name of, if I come as a union chairman, I'll worry some people who are in affairs, and I don't get it. You coordinated the election. If you wanted me, if you had plans for me to be in another branch, then you should have drew my attention to it. But I don't win an election, and you give me a transfer letter to another branch. And all these things are schemes of intimidation and the fact that someone cannot talk. You see, if you look at the resolutions that we came up with, the deductions are over 5 years. But we've been quiet all this time. So someone would ask, why are we talking now?
There's a legal implication. Do you intend to pursue that in court, by the way?
In fact, we would have to discuss that with our fund managers, because at the end of the day, it's not only about Amos George Imprim, it's about the staff.
The union.
There are other money, financial obligations I cannot probably be able to afford. And we don't know how the legal system can also help us or how long it will travel. So some of these things, when you are looking at it, you need to look at the pros and cons and see.
Okay, then we need to go. Anthony, let me give you just 30 seconds. Speak directly to the employers, the ones you say gave you the job, and they need to know the true situation of what's happening at Metromas. Briefly, we need to go.
So I want to assure our members who gave us the mandate and assisted us to draft this resolution. And the resolution is that the end of it all is that the 3 executives of the company must leave, or all the workers leave. Until that, we want to promise them we will stay focused, devoid of insult, devoid of destruction of company,
property.
Right. We want to assure them that. And if even management give us letter to stay outside, on which I believe they will be looking for us later. We will stay outside lawfully, but the strike will coordinate it from outside to make sure, if not for us, we salvage Metro Mass for our generations to come.
Anyway, and we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us, George Imprim and Anthony, for your time here on The Pulse.